controversy has broken out over my friend and colleague here, Jordan Peterson. He went on Piers Morgan's show, and he was asked specifically about Olivia Wilde's brand new movie, Don't Worry, Darling, which is getting just excoriated by the critics, which is a shocker because she is one of the protected people, Olivia Wilde. She's a feminist hero. And it doesn't matter that this feminist hero made the actual star of that film, Florence Pugh, apparently extraordinarily uncomfortable on set because she was banging Florence Pugh's co-star, Harry Styles. None of that matters because Olivia Wilde is a feminist hero for making a movie that basically suggests that men want to put women back in the kitchen, like it's the 1950s, etc. Well, the movie, Don't Worry, Darling, apparently, one of the stars, Chris Pine, according to Olivia Wilde, is basically playing Jordan Peterson. Right? He's supposed to be a cult leader who's trying to create a mental, I don't want to give any spoilers for this dumb movie, but apparently he's trying to create some sort of mental system that people live in, a kind of virtual reality, whereby young men can essentially train women to be put back into the kitchen. And that's what Jordan Peterson wants. And so she says that character, that Chris Pine cult leader character, is based on Jordan Peterson. So Jordan was asked about this by Piers Morgan over on Sky News. And he got rather emotional about the idea that he should not be attempting to reach out and help disaffected young men. Here is what Jordan had to say.
The film director, Olivia Wilde, has a new movie out, which she says is based on you, this insane man, this pseudo-intellectual hero to the incel community. Incel being these weirdo loner men who are despicable in many ways. Is that you? Are you the intellectual hero to these people?
Sure. Why not? People have been after me for a long time because I've been speaking to disaffected young men. What a terrible thing to do that is. I thought the marginalized were supposed to have a voice.
It's making you emotional to talk about that.
Well, God, it's very difficult to understand how demoralized people are. And certainly many young men are in that category. And you get these casual insults, these incels. What does it mean? It's like, well, these men, they don't know how to make themselves attractive to women who are very picky, and good for them. Women, be picky. That's your gift, man. Demand high standards from your men. Fair enough. But all these men who are alienated, it's like they're lonesome and they don't know what to do, and everyone piles abuse on them.
So the fact that Jordan gets emotional in favor of these young men, that he's attempting to give a sense of purpose, this is what the media and the left have jumped on. So there's a great hypocrisy here, right? The media and the left, they suggest that masculinity, traditional masculinity, is bad because traditional masculinity doesn't allow you to show your feelings. Then here's Jordan Peterson, a hero to a lot of young men because he stands in favor of traditional masculinity and masculine roles. And he's getting openly emotional, right? He's tearing up while talking about these people who are disaffected. So he's demonstrating to them that emotionality in public is actually not the end of the world, and the left is angry at him for that. But this goes to a broader point that is really dangerous in American life right now. And that is that a huge swath of elite opinion makers in the United States, a huge swath of our media, many members of the political left, they have decided that there's an entirely dispensable portion of the population, and this is young, disaffected men. And that is having a radical impact on how people live. Well, folks, there are a lot of people out there who feel like they're not getting the respect they deserve. But let's talk about one way that you can get the respect you deserve. You can become a lord or lady. Yes, you can earn that title through established titles. Apparently, all you need is a 1 square foot plot of land in Scotland. Established Titles is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds, or lords and ladies in English. In your title pack, you will be bestowed with at least 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, plus an official certificate with a crest. I, for example, am now known around these parts as Lord Ben Shapiro. In fact, this is the pronoun that I demand to be called by all of my employees, Lord Ben Shapiro. Your certificate features a unique plot number with which you can see the exact location of your land. Titles packs from Established Titles are a fun and unique gift for any occasion. There are even couple packs that come with adjoining plots of land for that special someone in your life. With your certificate, you could officially add the prefix of Lord or Lady to your credit cards, plane tickets, even your dating profiles. Yes, this is a real thing. Plus, Established Titles commits to preserving the woodlands not only in Scotland but around the planet. They have partnerships with global charities like One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to help with afforestation efforts. And for every order they receive, a tree is indeed planted. And get this, Established Titles told me the first 200 people purchasing a title pack using my exclusive link receive a plot within a few walking minutes of my own. So, depending on how many of you want to become a lord or a lady, we can build our own kingdom. Shapiro stand in the middle of Scotland. Established Titles is actually running a massive sale right now. Plus, if you use code BEN, get an additional 10% off. Go to establishedtitles.com/Ben. Get your gifts right now. Help support the channel. I'm not just talking about men here. I'm talking about women too. It turns out that women are generally not in favor of androgynous, feminized men. They do not like it. The statistics on female happiness over the course of the last half century have not demonstrated increased female happiness with the androgenization of gender. They have not created extraordinary levels of female happiness with later marriage and less childbearing and rearing. It's not good for women. It's particularly not good for men. The stats on men right now are devastating in the United States. David Brooks has a piece today in the New York Times titled "The Crisis of Men and Boys." He says, if you've been paying attention to the social trends, you probably have some inkling that boys and men are struggling in the United States and across the globe. They're struggling in the classroom. American girls are 14 percentage points more likely to be school ready than boys at age 5, controlling for parental characteristics. By high school, 2/3 of the students in the top 10% of the class, ranked by GPA, are girls. Roughly 2/3 of the students at the lowest decile are boys. In 2020, at the 16 top American law schools, not a single one of the flagship law reviews had a man as editor-in-chief. Men are struggling in the workplace. 1 in 3 American men with only a high school diploma, 10 million men, is now out of the labor force. The biggest drop in employment is among young men aged 25 to 34. Men who entered the workforce in 1983 will earn about 10% less in real terms in their lifetimes than those who started one generation earlier. Over the same period, women's lifetime earnings have increased 33%. Pretty much all of the income gains middle-class American families have enjoyed since 1970 are because of increases in women's earnings. Now, all of that would be perfectly well and good if the net happiness here were up. It is not. Men are also struggling physically. Men account for close to 3 out of every 4 deaths of despair, suicide, and drug overdoses. For every 100 middle-aged women who die of COVID up to mid-September 2021, there are 184 middle-aged men who died. Richard Reeves' new book of Boys and Men is a landmark, one of the most important books of the year, not only because it's a comprehensive look at the male crisis, but also because it searches for the roots of that crisis and offers solutions. Policies and programs designed to promote social mobility often work for women, but not men. Reeves, a scholar at the Brookings Institution, that's a liberal think tank, visited Kalamazoo, Michigan, where thanks to a donor, high school graduates get to go to colleges in the state for free. The program increased the number of women getting college degrees by 45%. The men's graduation rates remain flat. Reeves lists a whole series of programs from early childhood education to college support efforts that produced impressive gains for women, but did not boost men. There are many reasons men are struggling, according to David Brooks. For example, the decline in manufacturing jobs that put a high value on physical strength, the rise of service sector jobs. But I was struck by the theme of demoralization that wafts through the book. Reeves talked to men in Kalamazoo about why women were leaping ahead. They said women are more motivated, work harder, plan ahead better, but this isn't a matter of individual responsibility. There's something in modern culture that is producing an aspiration gap. Many men just seem less ambitious. More men are leading haphazard and lonely lives. Roughly 15% of men say they have no close friends, up from 3% in 1990. 1 in 5 fathers doesn't live with his children. In 2014, more young men were living with their parents than with a wife or partner. Apparently, even many who are married are not ideal mates. Wives are now twice as likely to initiate divorces as their husband. So David Brooks says ambition doesn't just happen, it has to be fired. The culture is still searching for a modern masculine ideal. It is not instilling in many boys the nurturing and emotional skills that are so desperately important today. A system that labels more than 1/5 of all boys developmentally disabled is not instilling in them a sense of confidence and competence. Masculinity has gone haywire. And then, of course, he has the obligatory, because he's David Brooks, rip on Republicans. Reverting to pseudo-macho cartoons like Donald Trump and Josh Hawley doesn't help. What? I was completely unaware that the alternatives here were the complete feminization of men and Donald Trump. Like, I love that. He's unwilling to acknowledge the obvious. What has happened here is the sexual revolution has castrated men in terms of their ambition, in terms of their mobility. That is what the sexual revolution did, and it did not make women happier. That is the dirty little secret here. The second wave, third wave feminist movement did not make women happier, and it made men a lot unhappier. And what we are seeing here is the impact of that. David Brooks is afraid to say it, because if you say that sort of thing, people get very angry at you. You violated the rules. Now, I'm not making the case that women shouldn't be in the workplace, that they shouldn't be able to get the jobs that they want. I'm making the case that traditional social roles, traditional gender roles absolutely matter. Again, I will cite my wife as a perfect example of this. My wife is a doctor. She's a primary care physician. I took care of the kids while she was in medical school. I remember at 7 o'clock every night, I would drive our 2 very young children at the time. My daughter was all of about 2.5 years old, and my son was a newborn. And I would drive them to the hospital where she was in residency so she could see them for like 25 minutes while she ate her dinner, and then she would head back inside to the residency program. So I'm very much in favor of the idea that women should be able to work the jobs that they want to work. Also, life is a balance. And my wife does that beautifully. My wife took off time to take care of both of our kids when they were babies. And now, because she has the ability to, she wants to work part-time so she can spend more time with the kids. This is not a rare coincidence. This is kind of the ideal life as women seek to live it. But the feminist movement has told women that all of that is very bad. Alrighty, guys, the rest of the show is continuing now. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be getting into Vladimir Putin ramping up the aggression. Plus, Berkeley apparently now has a Jew-free zone. If you're not a member, click the link in the description and join us.